Good evening, everyone, and thank you and welcome to the Town Hall meeting for the September. We changed the date to the 19th, and glad to see everybody out tonight. Now the meeting is now called to order. Ask Pro Tem Scott to give the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Our most gracious and loving Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight to thank you for all of the blessings and for this wonderful place where we live. We ask you to watch over our deliberations and our actions and make them most pleasing to you. In Christ's name, amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for
all. Tonight we have two proclamations, and they both deal with important topics. First, we have a proclamation dedicating this week, September the 17th to 23rd, as Constitution Week. September the 17th, 2017 marks the 230th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States by the Constitutional Convention. Through this proclamation, we ask citizens to reaffirm the ideas the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, and remembering that the loss of rights may never be regained. Second, we have a proclamation dedicating October the 8th through 14th as Fire Prevention Week. We recently experienced two tragic losses in our community when a fire claimed the lives of two people. It seems appropriate that we use this time to remind all citizens to take safety measures they can, all safety measures and any safety measures they can. The 2017 Fire Protection Week theme is Every Second Counts, Plan 2 Ways Out. Effectively serves to educate the public about the vital importance of developing a home fire escape plan with all members of the household and practicing it twice a year. Okay, at this time we have a presentation by TMAC.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank the Honorable Mayor and distinguished council members, as well as Mr. Kelly, for allowing us to be here tonight. My name is Chris Ward. I'm Director of Residential Development for ATMC. We have also Miss Victoria Bellamy. She's our Marketing Coordinator, as well as our Vice President of Human Resources and Customer Service, Mr. Jody Hustis, here with me tonight. We have a very exciting announcement about bringing our focused fiber optic services to Oak Island. That basically means we're going to be able to serve digital cable television, the fastest internet available anywhere in this region, telephone voice service, as well as home integration and home automation services over fiber optics. So let's get started with the presentation. Before I get started to tell you a little bit about the scope of what we're going to spend, most of you folks probably don't know who ATMC is. It stands for Atlantic Telephone Membership Corporation. We're a telephone cooperative, very similar to Brunswick Electric, which is an electric cooperative. We were formed over 60 years ago simply because nobody wanted to serve about 75% of Brunswick County. We have grown in that time. Going back to 2005, we first started offering fiber to the home service or fiber optic service. We were one of the very first companies in the state and the actual country to offer fiber to the home to commercial and residential services. Verizon Fios is a large company. Verizon offers their Fios service in the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast region, which is where a lot of people are retiring to Brunswick County from. So our fiber optic service started over 12 years ago. Our project looks like we're estimating about $12.5 million for the service to bring fiber optics to businesses and residents. Once it's complete, everybody will have access. At now, our current highest speed is 1 gigabyte. Most people speak about megabytes because of your cable or your telephone internet service, 50 megabytes or 100 megabytes. 1 gig is 1,000 megabytes. One of the biggest differences in what we offer over fiber to the home, we'll get into some of those issues, but one of the biggest differences is it's not shared bandwidth. When you have fiber optic service from us, what your neighbors are doing down the street or other people are using the service, it will not affect your quality of service. A lot of times where I live, I have cable service. When I get home at night, when my kids get home from school, people get home from work, everybody's internet slows down because it's a shared bandwidth. The fiber optic service will pass about 7,000 residential addresses and as many as 300 potential or existing businesses now on Oak Island. We hope to start, or we plan to start by the end of this year, into 2017 with this construction project. And this project will approximately take about 24 months. We're going to cut Oak Island in about half as best as we can. Phase 1, there's some larger maps that I've left with the mayor, and anybody can look at those if they'd like to. But basically, we're coming down Middleton Boulevard simply because we already have existing fiber there to serve wireless towers and some other business interests we have across the island and Ballhead Island and other places in the region. We'll use that existing fiber and build out into phase 1, and if you cut that in half, it'll take about 1 year to build phase 1. We will start offering services to customers throughout phase 1 before we finish the project, so we don't have to finish the whole project in 12 months or the first part of phase 1 before we can start offering services. We'll be able to cut some folks on as we go along with that. This is phase 2, obviously the other half of Oak Island. Like I said, about 12 months for each different phase. Some of the benefits of fiber to the home or fiber optics, new business development or investment. Faster broadband attracts businesses. Obviously, better broadband is something you hear all along when you talk about places like Raleigh, Durham, and Charlotte, because Google Fiber made large announcements. They're spending millions of dollars to make these gigabit cities. The city of Wilson, North Carolina had a project called Greenlight years ago, and they did their own fiber service because they couldn't get the cable and internet companies to do anything to serve their cities. The city of Salisbury, North Carolina also did the same thing, and Chattanooga, Tennessee is called a gigabit city because they were the first city to offer gigabit internet. So those are things that we're going to be able to do here at Oak Island. Obviously, with business investment, increased jobs, we call fiber optics a future-proof technology. When we put fiber in the ground, we don't have to come back in a couple of years and bury more fiber if you want faster internet. Fiber is a piece of glass. We have a laser on one end and an optical receiver on the other at your house or business. All we do is change out the electronics and you get faster internet speeds. So it's not a continual construction project every 10, 15, 20 years to make it faster. We talked about positive publicity for the town. To my knowledge, and I've tried to research this, you'd be the first barrier island, definitely in North Carolina, but probably on the East Coast that is served by a 100% fiber optic network. The businesses will see better internet, faster internet. We talk about reliability. You live at the beach. There's salt air coming off the ocean. There's sand, there's corrosion, there's humidity. Everybody knows here if you have a beach house or beach property that everything outside the metal eventually rusts. The phone and cable and internet lines you have in the ground now are made out of metal. Fiber optics made out of glass. It's not going to corrode. You're not going to have the same issues you have with the current services. Also, glass doesn't conduct electricity, so when you have a lightning storm or thunderstorm, you don't have to worry about power surges coming into your house over fiber optics. Increased efficiency for employees. Anybody that has a business, a point of sale, when you're doing credit card transactions and things like that. My wife's family owns a business in Columbus County, a restaurant, and that's the slowest thing during lunch because of their internet speeds is being able to take credit cards or transaction at the cash register. So you have increased efficiency simply because you have better internet. And one of the biggest things is service from a trusted local provider. ATMC has been in business over 60 years in Brunswick County. For the last 8 or 9 years, we've been voted Best of Brunswick County for best customer service. We pride ourselves in being a Brunswick-based corporation that gives back to the citizens of Brunswick County, and we want to make Oak Island a part of our family just like the rest of our customers. These are some of the benefits for the homeowners. You probably can't see that too well, but that was actually a study that was published in the Wall Street Journal in July 2015. If you have fiber optics, it makes your house worth more. Eventually, somebody's either going to buy and resell property on Oak Island, and it looks to increase your home by as much as 3.1% simply because you have gigabit internet. People move to areas where they have the amenities they want. They obviously have the ocean, they have beautiful parks, they have nice town facilities, but they also want to be able to use the internet and do some things that they were used to doing when they were living somewhere else in the United States. So that's an advantage for the homeowners. Connected devices, everybody here is looking down at a laptop or a phone, or will be at some point tonight at their house. Your house, the average household in the United States has about 11 different connected devices. Those devices all use internet, so the faster your internet, the better things work. If you have children like I do that use their phone and their game system for everything they do, or grandchildren, when they come to the house, they want to know the Wi-Fi password and they want to know why it's not fast. So those things will change. And we'll give you an option for local service from a local company. We do the same thing that the larger companies do. We just do it with a better technology. So there's no services that our competitors offer that we can't offer the same. This is our contact information for myself and Miss Victoria. She's probably going to be doing some press releases as we get closer to the start of the project. We also have a website that's very informative, iwantatmc.com. It's pretty simple. Toward the end of the year, when we get ready to build into Oak Island, there will be a web page dedicated to Oak Island. You will see where we're constructing. You will see videos that explain our construction process. You will see phone numbers and emails if you have issues or questions with the construction process. So you'll be able to know when service is available at your house or when construction is going to be starting and things like that. So we're constantly going to be available and be in the field. You can email me at any time you want, and I'll make sure to answer it. And as well as Victoria, if you have any questions from the media or anybody else. I was asked to keep this around 5 minutes, so hopefully I succeeded. I don't know if it's appropriate to take questions, but I definitely appreciate the time tonight.
Thank you very much, and yes, does anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
We're actually looking forward to having ATMC on the island. At this time, does any of the council members have anything to add or remove from the agenda?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to add to the agenda the discussion of the par 3 golf course.
Okay, is this old or new, David? Since it's old, wouldn't it be?
That would be old business.
Okay, number 1 under old. Anyone else? I entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. It's time for public comments. Please state your name and your address when you come to.
I'm sorry, but you asked all in favor, but I don't believe that Councilor Weinkauf voted. We asked for all opposed.
Oh, I'm sorry. All opposed. I'm so noted. Sorry, excuse me, Jeff. Public comment section of our agenda. Please state your name and address when you reach the podium, and be mindful of our 3-minute limit, please. Madam Clerk?
John Falk.
John Falk, 164 Northwest 2nd Street, Madam Mayor, Council. My concern is, I know we have a new contract we're going to be signing for the odor control, and we have the pier coming up and some other items. And my question is, I'm wondering why, after reading the contracts, we're not asking for bid or performance bonds from the contractors or construction managers. And that's my main question, because that's what protects us from any liabilities. If the contractor goes out of business midstream, we got to pick up the dollar amount again after we paid out money. And with the size of the pier project, and we're talking the dollar amounts, that could put a big liability on the town. And even the smaller projects, since this is about, what, I think the 3rd time we've tried to control the odor out there, what happens again if it doesn't work? We paid out a lot of money, have them go back and redo something again. And I know we can't have conversation on this now, but that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Next, please.
Merja Hunt.
I was hoping it was my husband here tonight, but because the meeting got changed, he can never be here on 3rd Tuesday because he volunteers on
Mind
the...
stating your name and address, please.
Yes, okay. So anyway, my name is Maria Hunt, and I live on 321 62nd Street. And I would like you staff, all of you council members, keep an open mind, because I think the staff on this issue that your staff has already recommended against what I want, or what I think the injustice has been done. But the reason I'm here tonight is we have been charged interest on the bill that we did never receive. We bought our home here in Island September 2010, and it was a foreclosure. And on our closing, we had a little place there that says the sewer tap fee was marked pending on a title statement. We had all the correct addresses, verifications on our billing address from the closing. The closing was done, we paid for it, done right, nothing was done wrong in a closing. And we started receiving right away from Town of Oak Island water bills and tax bills to correct the address. And we paid them all on time and everything. Now, 7 years later, in July 2017, we received an unsigned stern letter from Town of Oak Island Collection Department stating that we are delinquent $5,701.50. This shocked us because we have a perfect credit and we have always paid our bills on time. And if you go back and look at the bills that were sent to the right address was paid on time. After researching, we realized that this was the pending sewage tap fee from the 2010 closing that we were never billed for. $4,200 was the tap fee, and which we then realized we hadn't paid. We went and paid it July the 19th, 2017. A couple weeks later, we had to do some research. $1,501.50 is the interest amount that we are not responsible for, because we discovered that for the past 7 years, the bill had not been sent to us, but to the previous owner's mortgage company, Fannie Mae, in Dallas, Texas.
Thank you, ma'am. Your time is up. I apologize. They have had a chance to read the whole summary.
Roseanne Fortner.
Roseanne Fortner, 113 Paulus Circle for the Beach Preservation Society. I have 4 items to speak about tonight. First, like many of you, we are mourning the loss of a dear friend and beach lover, Jim Nelson, who passed on August 14th. Beach Preservation plans a memorial presentation and recognition of the work of both Jim and his wife Muriel at the October meeting of council. Jim's obituary and details of his life are on our Facebook page. Second item, new beach lover store signs have been delivered to most businesses on Oak Island. If your business did not receive one yet, please contact us at beachoki@outlook.com and request one. We've just reprinted and are delivering new copies as requested. Thanks to all of the local vendors and the services that are helping spread the word on our public beach responsibilities. Third, the 2017 beach cleanup was conducted on Saturday, and we collected a total of 252 pounds of trash. That is compared to 337 last year in 2016. Sounds like we're getting cleaner, doesn't it? But lots of things were going on this year that we didn't count on. We had fewer people this year because of other events going on. Southport, Wrightsville Beach, and other places around locally had their own cleanup at the same time we did. So those were drawn off, and we didn't have as many cleaners. We didn't allow collection in the dunes at all this year because of the fragility of those structures at this point. Still, we got about 4,000 cigarette butts, number one on the Dirty Dozen list for the whole world, over 4,000 of the cigarette butts, over 400 tiny plastic pieces, a centimeter or less, 300 plastic bottle caps, you've seen them, and 136 plastic bags, among other types of trash that was counted and measured. Despite the changes then in what we were able to do, the beach looks clean and inviting for our fall activities. Dunes and storms may come and go, but the care of Oak Island's beaches is in the hands of diligent and committed beach lovers. Thanks for all you do. Finally, we have a vacancy on our board. If you'd like to join the other 9 individuals that are year-round residents and work our tails off for the beach all the time, please join us. Put your application in to the town clerk for a spot to work for the Beach Preservation Society. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Faulkner. Thank you.
That's all I had signed up.
The next item on our agenda is council report. And we will start with you, Councilman Weinkauf.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've got just a couple of things I'd like to talk about. Back in around January, we started coming out with a plan of what we're going to be assigned as council members to do each year. Mayor and myself signed up to start working on the beach fund. During this year, we made several trips to Raleigh to talk to our senators, to our House of Representatives, and you think sometimes with all the effort you put in, things don't pay off. Well, a few weeks ago, we learned that the House and the Senate passed the established Coastal Storm Damage Mitigation Fund, which will benefit beach communities. There's no money in the fund yet, but it did pass those two. But we've also learned that our governor is wanting to veto this. This is a fund that could help all the taxpayers in the beach communities through storm damage, beach nourishment projects, and I think this is a very vital step to help the taxpayers. And I think everybody in every beach community should be blowing up the governor's phone, telling him not to veto this, that we want this help. People also who made these trips to make this happen was our town managers, other council members, and it took a whole team effort to get this passed through. Our Senator Rayburn, House Representative Mr. Eiler, was a big factor in getting all this done, and each one of them deserve a great thank you from all of us. Our mayor has went above and beyond pushing this. She has met with Mr. Rayburn, Mr. Eiler. She's also met with Rouser to make sure that this community is being represented. And I want to say thank you to everybody who sits right here today for your efforts for making this happen. And it takes teamwork to get things done. And the other thing is, I've been talking about, as a community, sometimes we all don't find out what's going on. And I've asked for maybe, I think, October 3rd to have a little town hall meeting to discuss some subjects like the beach, the pier, and our wastewater system. 3 subjects at a time, baby steps to take off, have a nice community meeting. Let's sit down and discuss what's going to happen in the town so nobody's left behind, so everybody knows what's going on. And if everybody wants to come out to this meeting and have a civil conversation, I'm going to be here to do the first one. And we'll discuss what's on your mind, and then we'll all sit around and talk and just see what comes out of this conversation. And that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Awesome, thank you, Councilman Weinkauf. Councilman Blaylock?
The thing that I was going to bring up, I already did, is on the par 3. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Have no report?
I just have a short little comment I'd like to make. When this new board took office and I became mayor, we looked at the occupancy tax figures, and we were way below Ocean Isle and way below Holden Beach. And our new tax collector and I worked together and aggressively went after people that were renters that rented their properties but were not paying in their occupancy tax that they collected, or whether they collected or not, we don't know. But everyone that rents property is by law subject to collecting from the renters and turning that over to the town as tax, occupancy tax. I got the figures in for 2016-17 because it's mere year from June, the end of June to the 1st of July every year. And I'd like to share those with you for the years, and I won't go all the way back. I'm just going to start on 2015 and 2016. That year we had $1,083,446,000. This year, the numbers that are in that same time period is $1,446,000 and $852. Big difference, 1 year. We have already collected from July the 1st to September the 12th of this year, $964,731 in occupancy tax. A clear example of aggressive collecting. That's the only thing I can think of it happening. I don't think we had that many more visitors, but there were more people that had been renting that are now putting into the system. And that concludes my report. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Yes. You need to move,
Madam Mayor, I
or take it
propose we approve the consent agenda.
Jeff has one.
Oh, you have another?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, we forgot to talk about, when we made adjustments to the agenda, removing number 6.
We moved number 6?
From the consent agenda.
Yeah. We need to remove number 6 from the consent agenda, but we don't need to discuss it, right?
No.
Okay. Just remove it.
So we're not going to discuss it.
Second. Do you need a motion and a
Yeah.
second for that? Okay.
All in favor? Now I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Madam Mayor, I move we approve the consent agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Can I just clarify, that was just to remove it from the agenda entirely?
Yeah, we're not discussing it. Yeah. Committee appointments, we don't have any this month on the agenda. Administrative reports, Mr. Kelly.
We have none at this time. When EB speaks about the pier, he'll give us an update where we stand.
Okay. Mr. Eves?
No report.
Thank you. On old business, the only item we have on old business is a discussion on the par 3 golf course issue. And Councilman Blaylock, since you brought it up, I'll let you open the floor. Discussion.
Well, I'd like to, this is going to sound pretty blunt, but I'd like to know what's going on.
Maybe, Mr. Kelly, can you update the council?
Last week, we had a meeting with the South Harbor Property Owners Association, and several things were discussed. We gave them some additional information. They gave us a few ideas of what they were ready to present to us so far, and there was a few suggestions back and forth. And one suggestion was for staff, is to allow staff and them to continue to work together and then present this back to you during the budget retreat and make this a budgetary item for next year's budget. And that way we would give both parties some more time to look at different ways that maybe we could save money or join monies and make this a better partnership.
Maybe you need to explain a little better, Brian, that there is a motion that we,
The
Bring us up
motion,
on
there was no vote taken on that motion Councilmember Bell made.
For October.
And I can't remember the month you made it, but we did a 120-day extension or tabled it for 120 days. I believe that falls I believe that falls 2 days after the October meeting, that deadline. Dave, did you look at that? When we met with the members from South Harbor, or representatives Friday, we discussed various possible cost-saving mechanisms, as well as the fact that they have been conducting a membership drive, trying to get new members and things like that. So staff was thinking that it might be beneficial to allow this season's numbers to come in, including the membership numbers, see where we are, and then take a look at this again at a budget workshop in maybe January or February.
So what do I need to do?
Well, if there's a consensus.
That's what I'd like to do.
If there's a consensus that we would just continue to table that motion until a budget workshop timeframe, I don't even think we'd have to take a vote. If there's a consensus.
Just a consensus of the council saying we are extending?
Well, I'm asking the boss.
Since you deferred it for a specific amount of time, I think we probably need to have some kind of formal action too.
Okay.
And I think you can defer it to an open-ended, just say
Right.
to schedule it for budget workshop in the spring.
Then Sheila, if you'd like to make a motion to
I would
table.
like to make a motion to table the motion till the budget workshop sometime in the spring,
No, January.
It'll be in January.
January. Fix that, Lisa.
I'm sorry, so your motion is to defer action on the original motion?
Correct.
Thank you.
Do we have a
So
second?
January.
Any discussion? Any further discussion? Any questions?
Can I ask this? Is there any way that we could keep some kind of an update as to what's going on? That's my thing with the whole thing. I don't know.
My understanding is that it is improving month by month, that they are, the membership is improving. The only issue we have now is trying to come to some consensus with the POA. And we already have it budgeted for this year, so it only makes sense to discuss it during budget workshop.
And there has been a forward movement of working together with the POA and the town, or we've come to the table and had some discussion, and it all sounds very positive. And I think there's it's so detailed to the point where we don't want to rush it we need it all in one package tied with a bow when it comes to the council. And there were some figures they were waiting for that they were not able to get in time to make that happen. We didn't think by October. So that's where we're at. And once it comes to you, I don't think there's a progressive type of report. This is what we've come up with, and this is where we're at, and here's the numbers. A lot of people wanted to join, but right now we didn't have in place a system where they could join and prorate it. So a lot of people are waiting till January to join, and we're thinking that the numbers will even be better in January. So, it may
Does
not
that
be
answer
an
your
issue in
question, John?
January.
Not really?
Mr. Blaylock, to your point, staff can schedule another meeting within 45, 60 days. We did that twice. That would probably put us right on top of the budget workshop, and you'd want a fresh meeting right before that budget workshop anyway.
Well, all I'm interested in, my point is, I'm getting questions from both sides. What's going on? Where are we going with this? And who do I refer them to? Because I'm getting tired of telling them I don't know. So should I refer them to the town manager?
You can, or you can to me. They're represented by council, and she and I have a good working relationship. I think part of what you're talking about was there was a request for information, but the town doesn't keep it in the manner in which it was requested. So that information had to be deciphered out. But we kind of worked through those issues this past Friday. And there, we're getting some additional information to them. I'm all for having a meeting in 60 days just so it doesn't get put on the back burner.
Please.
And like I said, if we have one another 60 days after that or 45 days after that, that'll be on the eve of the budget workshop anyway.
Good, okay, thank you.
So everyone in favor? We have a second on the floor. Everyone in favor?
I'm sorry, who seconded the motion?
Charlie?
Charlie? Okay.
No,
Lewin's.
Mr. Scott.
I did.
Thank you.
You may.
Did everybody vote?
Let me second it. All in favor? All opposed, likewise. Thank you. New business, consideration of a request from a citizen to waive interest for sewer assessment, and that was the one that we just had in public comments. Ms. Hunt. We do have a summary in our package, and I'm assuming that all of us have read it and understand it. So I'll open the floor up for a motion.
Madam Mayor, I've also included and I gave each one of you a copy of the tax certification. If you'll notice on the tax cert, it says pending sewer assessment. The tax certification is normally done right before a closing so as to obtain any information that is relevant to the closing. Staff actually made note, and it was discussed in closing that there was a pending sewer assessment.
Okay. Any further discussion? Any questions? Entertain a motion.
I got a question.
Sure.
Before,
Okay.
if who's responsible, does the real estate company handling the closing have any responsibility for making sure that was done, or does it strictly fall upon the property owner?
It's my understanding there was no assessment at that time of closing. That came later.
That's correct.
Right. So there wouldn't have been any way an attorney or a real estate agent would have agent wouldn't have collected anyway, but apparently from the tax certification, they were made aware that there was one coming.
Correct.
Our summary states, Mr. Hunt states that they never received a bill. Mrs. Hunt stated she never received a bill. Do we know where the bills were going?
Yes, they were going to the bank.
To the bank. Sorry. So, anybody have any questions that we can discuss amongst us?
You can't.
Sorry.
We
I
may
entertain
want to, table this request
for further discussion.
in closed session.
Can I do that, or do we need a motion to do it?
That's my advice.
Yeah. Let's do it, because there's some,
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to delay this for closed session later. Table it.
table it till another meeting. Okay.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Thank you. Number 2 on the agenda item is consideration for requests for qualified contractors document Oak Island Pier project. I believe one of our public speakers mentioned this type of thing in his
Yes, ma'am.
comment.
EB's going to make a presentation or give us an update.
This is for accountability purposes and whomever ends up getting the contract for the pier, correct?
Yes, ma'am. And I'm E.B. Pancook with Andrew Consulting Engineers. Figured I needed to say that for the record.
I think we've all had the opportunity to read and discuss the contract.
That is I believe what y'all have is a document for pre-qualification.
Yes.
So contractors can submit their qualifications, but that way we end up with a contractor that's able, has the experience for a project like this. This is not a project that every marine contractor is qualified to do, and it could significantly harm the town if you had the wrong contractor on site.
Right, and this is quite a lengthy accountability form to fill out.
Yes,
I'm assuming that's for pre-screening.
yes, it is. Just making sure that we've covered all the areas that need to be legally. That was developed by another municipality in the area, but it's gone through their legal system. It's gone through the financial requirements. So it was we felt it was a good starting point.
Does anyone have any questions for EB? Entertain a motion to approve the request for qualifications.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the RFQ and to direct that it be advertised and published appropriately.
Second, please.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Consideration of requesting revaluation on vacant oceanfront lots.
Mayor, I'm sorry, if I could just clarify, the agenda does say, the agenda document itself says vacant oceanfront lots, but the memo refers to all oceanfront properties.
Okay, thank you. And this is going, I'm sure everybody's read it and understands it, but just so the public will know, some of our oceanfront lots that were unbuildable have now become buildable, and they're being taxed at a very low rate versus what neighboring lots are. So this, this line item or the agenda item is basically to go back to the county and ask the tax assessor to reevaluate all the lots that are now buildable.
Yes, ma'am.
I entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to direct town staff to proceed with requesting the county tax assessor to revalue oceanfront properties due to the implementation of the development line.
Second, please.
Second.
Second by Jeff. All in favor? Last but not least, there's consideration for appointment of vacant town seat, and I think we need to begin by a motion to fill the seat. And if that motion passes, then we need to look at the names that were sent in. Okay, so I'd entertain a motion that we fill the seat.
So moved.
Second? All in favor? All right. This time I entertain a motion for one of the two names that were submitted, or either of the names.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I think with what we have coming down the line in the next 2.5 months, it's going to be crucial to have somebody who's got a little experience. And I don't think we should be in the business to promote somebody who's already running for the seat and put them on council. So my motion would be to put Ms. Darrell Royal on the council seat.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please. All right, thank you. Congratulations, Mr. Worrell. At this time, I entertain a motion to go into closed session.
Madam Mayor, I move we go into closed session this time.
Read it, Charlie.
On your screen.
It's on your screen.
You want me to do it, Joel?
Closed sessions to consult with the town attorney on pending potential litigation pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-11A3.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. At this time, I'll call the meeting back to order and state that there was action taken in closed session, and at this time, I'll entertain.
No action.
There was, no, I'm sorry, no action taken, but discussion. I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to release Mr. and Mrs. Robert Hunt of $1,501.50 in interest on their sewer assessment bill.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? And,
Madam Mayor, may I just add something to the minutes?
yes,
It's my understanding that, those particular lot owners did receive various bills to their right address and timely paid those bills. And just to the extent there may be another request similar to this, I want to make sure that the minutes reflect some of the background facts that were considered in arriving at this decision.
all right, thank you. This time I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
So, all in favor? Thank you.
Third, what do you want?